Hello, hello, hello. I'm live. It's Sunday. What are we? It's 8 o'clock in the UK. Sunday, the 22nd of October. And I'm live. I'm trying to do this every Sunday. I'm live answering questions about knotted locks and beyond the knots, beyond me actually creating knotted locks, and what this could mean for each of you interested in knotted locks. My name is Melissa Blake, and I'm the creator of Knotted Locs. My specialism is small size locks, and I create, teach, and I work with Sisterlocks, Microlocs, braid locks, fine locks, small size locks, any small size locks wearers basically, on and offline. I am live on YouTube and live on Facebook. And I tell you what, that being I'm just not technical, right? But this is me trying to move myself out of my comfort zone and right? In order to answer your questions. Apologies in advance, if I do not answer your questions right now, I will make notes and I will answer your questions the next time I'm live. The point of coming live is to basically individually help you if you have questions about your personal situation with your small size locks. It is not right to categorize African texture hair. Right? We all have African texture hair, but our hair is so diverse and our needs are wants and our environments are so different that it is not good to generalize. And so with my 13 years of working with small size locks, I recognize the need to actually help people individually with your situations and just kind of give you advice on what to do and how to give you maximum locks fullness, optimum hydration, and just to improve the hygiene level of small size locks, because one of the issues is I'm afraid to wash my hair because it's going to unravel. I'm afraid to put water in it because it's going to unravel. I've been advised not to, blah, 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 and that worry about your hair unraveling has led you to practice not very good hygiene, because some of us want to be able to wash our hair as often as we want to. Jenny, I will answer that question. I'm so proud of myself. I saw the question. I'll answer the question, Jenny, soon. Bear with me. Basically, the number one worry with small size locks is will it unravel? I'm scared it's going to unravel. My hair is soft. Locticians, I was taught by Sisterlocks, serve the idea of locks, serve the creation of Sisterlocks. There is no education about serving the African texture hair that you wear on your head. There is no education about that, right? We all worry about the end results. We're trying to get our hair to look a certain way. If Mother Nature, if how you're born, your hair has come in the way it has come, and you decide you want small size locks, and you decide it has to look like this, when it can't look like that, and it's being forced and tugged and pulled, and the result is Mother Nature will tell you, will show you whether what you're doing is working or not. That's all Knotted Locs is doing. All Knotted Locs is doing is showing you whether this is working for Mother Nature, whether this is working for the characteristics of your hair. Don't get caught up in the name. I had to create a name to cover my ass when I wanted to confess I was not in the locks. What you need to understand is when I come to you, when I teach you, when I work on clients' hair, it's 13 years of experience. And I pull from all different parts and give you the individual sitting in the chair or you the individual that I'm teaching. The knowledge is a mixture of various different information that I'm getting to give you. Sometimes it's just the way you touch your hair that I go, ouch, it doesn't like it. And you didn't even know. You wouldn't even know. So please do not get caught up in the look. This is really important for you to understand. I am trying to work with nature and I'm trying to celebrate your hair, but I cannot force your hair to be more chunkier, thinner, straighter. I cannot force it. This is nature. When I create these clever loops and knots, when I teach you individually how to create these clever see I have on my head is Mother Nature. I've knotted it and I've given space to Mother to take care of my hair. Understand this. Knotted locks is not a hairstyle. It's a practice of maintaining the size locks that you want to wear in your head. That's all it is. It's just a clever practice of actually speeding up the locking process. It is not a hairstyle like that. It is a practice to basically cultivate and help nurture your small size locks in the healthiest way, so you can put water on it and you don't have to worry about it unraveling. It does not serve a grid. It does not serve a specific look. It just is a way so that your hair doesn't unravel, so you know you can happily live with your growth, right? My hair would not allow me to knot my hair close to the scalp. It just wouldn't. That would cause breakage. If your hair allows that, that's fine. You know, do what suits you and what your hair shows you and tells you it wants and it needs. So please understand that. So if you want to knot your hair and you want to call it Microlocs, if you want to even stick with Sisterlocks, whatever you want to call it, I'm just not concerned about the name, because my calling is not about like labeling. It is just about me giving you information and then you choose to narrate it or speak on it or however you choose to, because you're an adult, right? Right, Jenny, I'm going to try and answer your question about will knotted locks definitely make my locks fuller? I don't know, Jenny. I actually don't know. When I started knotting, it was just direction to knot, because the avoidance of water on our African texture hair was breaking our hair, was making our hair vulnerable. So I wouldn't know that, Jenny. What I would say to you is look at my work. So I'm here for the researchers. Take a look at my work, compare my hair when I was celebrating Sisterlocks, when I was doing 100% interlocking, even when I moved into bespoke, and then look at my hair with knotted locks, and you make an informed decision as to whether it thickens your hair or not. I don't want to claim anything, right? A lot of the work I do, obviously, as a person who does marketing, you know, I put 4 times a year, summer, autumn, winter, spring. But I also share with you that I've not seen this client in 5 years. I've not seen this client in 4 years, in 5 months. I've not seen this client in 4 months, or, you know, it just depends. It's moved. Like, I'm evolving with a relationship with Knotted Locs and my clients, and it's shifted. So don't get stuck in what I actually post. Is like when I'm teaching, I always say to my learners, watch my hands, because my hands are cleverer than what I'm articulating, what I'm communicating, right? So the reason why I post on a regular basis is for you guys to do your research and make an informed decisions, so that even if I'm claiming summer, autumn, winter, spring, you can make an informed decision whether I'm giving you the right information or not. But I'm going to tell you something. Those who choose me intuitively, simply because the evidence of work is there, and what I speak on, it resonates with them, right? And then, honestly, even with the clients' heads that I share, we just let it be. And then it becomes what it is to become. And because we're just accepting of that moment, of the practice of how I knot and how I create on a client's head, it's just beautiful, because it is just allowing it to be. A lot of the times my client will explain to me a history that I've forgotten, and they'll be like, Melissa, you know, that's what my hair is like. And I just think it's beautiful when people say to me, who sit in my chair, that's what my hair is like. They're not looking for their hair to be like somebody else's. They're not looking for a look. They just want to live with their small size locks. And that's why sometimes I feel like maybe people who have established locks would be, that's all right. You're welcome, Jenny, would be better with knotted locks, because when you've had the experience that Melissa's had, where I was struggling with hair loss and I didn't even understand that's what that was, and I didn't understand the flatness. When you begin to understand where you were heading to with the Sisterlocks practice, and the pulling and the tugging, right? And then you discover a joy with the way I practice, knotting the hair and the information I give you. It's such peace, joyous scenerity with our hair that I couldn't go back to that anxiety, that fear, that apology for the texture hair I have. All I'm doing here is going, here it is, here is your hair. Love it, live with it, be with it. And then it thrives. And I just think it thrives because it's just that when you accept a situation, it just becomes what it's supposed to be. But if we still keep on comparing and being a slight edge of competition, and that's the problem we're going to have. Now, I always explain this, that those people who truly are following me and understand my work are not social media people. They're just researchers. They're people who come online, they're worried about their hair, they're wondering, why is my hair feeling thin? What is missing? And then they find me and they're like, a lot of my work is private and on one-on-one and personal. I'm just a relationship girl. I'm a relationship girl. So me, what I like is I see your hair, Jenny, for example, and I go, right, Jenny, this is what I'm getting. This is the information I'm getting. Like, this is what, and then you're like, oh my God, that's exactly what's going on. But I just didn't have the words for it. I'm a relationship girl, right? And so even when I come and I speak on a general, that's why I say, I come, ask me a question, I try and answer, but there's nothing like the visual seeing your hair and explaining what I'm understanding. And when I'm teaching, I can say to you, I see how you're doing that. That's good. I see how you're doing that. Check that. Like, I am that. And my beyond the knots, I talk about beyond the knots, is that. So when a client sits in the chair, Melissa practices knotted locks, but clients choose me because of Melissa, because they know I'm not rigid. I'm not going to place a knot where it doesn't need to be placed. I'm not. And that's why I say to you, sometimes I'm interlocking, sometimes I'm knotting. My issue is that 100% interlocking just doesn't work for the way I work because I'm a creative. And Melissa is trying to create these loops, and I'm biased towards trying to thicken up the hair. I'm biased. So when I feel it's thin, I'm like, how do I make it feel a bit more chunkier, right? And so that's why you'll see that my locks, if it was interlocked, would look like this, but my knots look like that. Like, I'm trying to do it, but I can't guarantee. And also it's ongoing. So when a client sits in my chair and let's say I've interlocked because the interlock part is thin, when they come back in, that's when I'll knot it. Also, the technicalities of how I knot is really complex. And that's why when I'm teaching, I say, watch my hands, because my hands are cleverer than my mouth. Because my hands, they just know what they're doing. So when I'm on a client's head, I'll be creating and I'll look away. Because it's textural, I'm feeling it. I'll look away and I'll create. But honestly, these are separate intelligence. I'm not gonna lie to you. Sometimes I'm in awe of what I've created. When I look at the client's head, I'm like, wow. So somebody asked me on my Facebook group, and if you guys, like, you want to see my work live, like this week, I'm doing a lot of live shares. I'm doing it on Facebook live as clients in the chair before and after. I try and show you before, this is what the client looks like, give you a bit of information, and then this is what it looks like after. So you get real-time information in terms of how Melissa is practicing her knotted locks work. Please understand, my work is beyond the knots because I'm not rigid. I'm super creative. And I like the creativity part of my work, right? Somebody asked me, how do you do knotted locks? So to answer that question, maybe you go back and you'll see, if you went on my YouTube, you'll see the history of how I started knotting. But just a quick one, I didn't want my hair to unravel, so I started knotting it. And then I was exposed, and then I had to confess. And because I had to confess, I chose 2 words, knotted locks, random. Like, I didn't prepare. What was more important is I had to come and confess because I was terrified about knotting the hair. And then I chose 2 random words. So they could have been locks, knots, like it could have been anything. Please understand that when I share the information, it's beyond the knots, right? And so you say, how do you do knotted locks? I knot locks. That's in the simplest way to explain what Melissa does. Is I believe that I should be able to fast forward the locking process in a clever, healthy way, and I knot. But now, like I knot, but I know it's beyond the knots. Because where I place those knots, like it's amazing. Like how I place the knots is amazing. Like recently, a learner shared one of my posts and she was explaining that, see, Melissa knots, and this looks like one knot. And it wasn't. It was layers of knots. So I've been doing this for 6 years. So I just know how to marry them together, how to make them look more seamless, how to correct certain things. I'm not perfect, but I'm trying to get the lock to feel strong. And so when I teach you, that's the combination of information I'm trying to give you. 13 years of Sisterlocks, small size locks, but also 6 years of information about the knots that I try and give you. I try and understand your hair, and then I try and give you the information relevant to your hair. And that's a work in progress. I'm still learning about that. I take my time to learn, but I want you to understand that ultimately the simplest terminology used for what Melissa does is hashtag #IKnotLocks. I hope that answered your question. But yeah, I knot locks. And then the difference in what I do is like, yeah, it just varies. It's just, somebody asked me a question about Sisterlocks. Somebody was asking me a question. They had hair loss before. They had hair loss around the crown area. And then they were thinking they want to do like Sisterlocks or Microlocs. And then the person who wanted to do their hair says to put extensions in their hair to help make it fuller. How do I answer this question? Okay, so should I, because the idea is when I do small size locks, Microlocs, Sisterlocks, any of these locks, small size locks it's going to help save my hair and the alopecia won't get worse. And then the person is going to use extensions on that person's hair to help make it fuller. Okay, you see that kind of question? You see, if I'm doing I'm working with that client on a one-on-one, that's a lot of questions I have to ask before I support you. So there's this sweeping thing where people put on social media a question and then people just answer. But everybody's different. Everybody's situation's different. Everybody's mindset different. Just on the way I interact with you vibe-wise, I'll know how to guide you. So this is a general answer, right? This is just a general answer. So I have wool on my locks. That's how I color my hair, because coloring would have broken my hair with the colors I wanted. So I have wool on my head. I've said I wanted to start someone's hair, right, with wool, color wool. I've said that before, so I'm saying it again. Like, I'd love to start someone's hair with color wool, like, that'd be a dream, right? I have, so therefore, I have excess weight apart from my strands on my head, right? And so I think anything that you were thinking of doing, I would say a trial is a really good idea, knowing that you're doing a trial, and also wetting your hair as often to keep it strengthened as you're doing your trial. Because I feel like water should be part of your experience, right? I understand the logic in terms of wanting to make it feel fuller. And if you've got the right texture that you can add on, it could be done brilliantly. But understand what interlocking is, which interlocking is putting it through the growth and pulling it through the strands and pulling it through the strands and pulling it. So I place wool on my head, but I also knot. So there's not that combination of the weight and then it being tugged and pulled. I can't say to someone, don't. Like, I can say stop if I can see trauma, but it depends on the hands of the person even who's doing your head. If the person who's doing your head understands your texture and they're saying all the right things and it's all combined and intuitively it feels right, then explain that as much as you're a bit nervous. It's like a trial, right? Now, the standard response is don't do it. I tell you, the standard response would be it's extensions. Don't do it because it's excess stress on your head, and also the Sisterlocks thing with the grid, all of that's dangerous. Like, I wouldn't do it on my head. But I just think when I even teach, I explain that when I'm teaching you on my texture. My texture here is different from yours. The positioning of my hand, everything is different. So I teach you with the basis of, obviously, like I've created it. I've created Knotted Locs. So like I'm the best person to kind of explain to you different scenarios and different information that I'm getting from my past experience. But ultimately it is a lot about trialing something, but feeling safe as you trial it, because then I can feed back to you because we're forming a relationship, right? So grids are not natural. I wasn't born with a grid in my head, neither were any of my children. And so I don't think grids are natural. I'm not pro grids. I'm pro creativity. I'm pro self-expression. And for me, creativity and self-expression cannot be within lines, especially lines that are hair loss to me, because what you're saying to hair that's trying to grow through that crack, through that little ridge, is don't grow because we're trying to have this line. So eventually it doesn't grow, and then the line starts spreading, and then you're worried, why is the line looking wider and much more definitive and clearer? But that's because you've taught it, behave yourself, don't grow. Next one says, okay, I'm not going to grow because that one shouldn't grow, and it becomes wider, and it becomes easier for that person parting your hair to just see the line, so they keep going over it. I just think if you have hair loss from past history, and you want all of your hair to come back, why would you force hairs to be in a grid and clear that area? That's in the simplest kind of logical way I'm thinking, that maybe think about that and then make an informed decision. Also, grids to me don't give me fullness. Grids to me is serving a look, right? And I just want a full head of hair. So a full head of hair for me means there are no grids, especially if I have low density and I've already suffered from alopecia. So I will look at somebody who has stunning full head of hair. That was how they were born. They can get away with that. They can get away with the lines like that and the grid and the tugging and the pulling. They have a different head of hair. But if you've already had history of trauma with your hair, and then now it's being pulled and tugged, yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether that's a good idea. But as I say, I want you to make an informed decision. I want to give you the information, and then I want you to make an informed decision as to whether it's right or wrong for you. And if you think it's right for you, go ahead. And then if you think it's wrong for you, just stop. Like anybody who is thinking, oh, I love this initially, and then something's off key, then stop. Sometimes, this is what I found out. Sometimes when something is off key, you go like this, wait, let me just wait and just assess the situation, and then I'll make a decision. You know, that means no retight, just wait, right? On the basis of how your loctician reacts, on the basis of how your head is feeling, you then realize, actually, yeah, I don't want to do that anymore. How many people have I taught who said, I didn't know what I was going to do next, but the last time I was sitting in that chair, I was like, that's the last time I'm sitting in that chair. I'm not sitting in that chair anymore. How many people have said that to me? I said, did you know what you're going to do? They were like, no. But Melissa, I knew I was going to go back into that chair because it just didn't feel right. My hair was going, and all the things she was telling me to do, I was doing, but my hair was flat. And then they go online and search, and the impossible became possible. I taught them, and now they're doing great, and they're flourishing, and they're fine. Go with your intuition. That's what I say. Go with your intuition. Right. Somebody asked me about which hair would suit knotted locks. So this is more about categorizing African texture hair. Which hair would suit knotted locks more? Right? This is what I'll say to you. Knotted locks was created for the Africanest hair. Okay, so that African curly African hair. Honestly, I believe that because when I see how it loops and it coils, that's African hair. So for the Africanest of hair to the less Africanest of hair, I like the mixed heritage loose curled hair. So the African hair, you can't even see the movement, like you can't even see the curl and the coil. And also I think for that type of hair, many hairstyles exist for that kind of hair, that kind of hair, celebrating that texture hair. So I think it's really lovely that Knotted Locs exists for that. The softness and the soft, YouTube, I think I lost you a minute. I was trying to, between the rigidity of the knots for hair not moving and the looseness and the waviness and the softness of a looser hair, like mixed heritage, we're in this whole spectrum. And that's why I am offended by that 4C number, because it's just ridiculous. Because African hair is so vast and the characteristics are so vast that you can get the tightest Africanist of hair, but it's quite soft and it's got characteristics of mixed heritage hair. When I teach, I'm teaching you against the characteristics of your hair that's fluid, even depending on the zones of your head, right? Do you see how complicated it is? And then how you even look after your hair, i.e. whether when you're sitting in the chair and I'm talking to you, when I'm showing you and I'm asking you to feel and I'm educating you about your hair, and also online. My passion is relationships. My passion is celebrating African texture hair. And I'm really trying to figure out how I can roll out my passion to give you the best of me and my knowledge, to give you optimum small size locks, an optimum small size locks journey. It's continual, right? So in answer to your question, I think it is ultimately there for the most tightly curled hair, and that hair that doesn't keep a grid, and also that hair that just doesn't keep a grid, that hair that it just needs to be kept in like the size it wants to, and the knots are there so that you're not tugging and pulling, because it's curly hair and people can find that very curly hair quite frustrating. So it's there for that. It celebrates that. But it's also there for the loosest of hairs, that's soft, that's trying to unravel. I've started doing, I have started putting it out there, but I've started like showing my work. Like I've doing it on Facebook group, but I'm also doing I'm trying to show you the clients who come into my space and who I work with, for you to kind of get a better understanding of the layers of what I do. I hope that helps. It's like you ask me and I try and answer, but I don't quite answer. It's like, what is knotted locks? Well, it's a variation of knots. Like, would my hair be thicker? I don't know. It might be, you get to decide. But I think I'm trying to give you as much information as possible for you to make an informed decision, because ultimately it's about whether we would be compatible. It's about compatibility. I'm also obviously trying to give you just general information, but ultimately, I'm going to be honest, calling is a relationship. It's like when I talk to you and I give you the information, that's really, because like that's what I do with my clients. I'm trying to replicate that online. I'm trying to figure it out. Yeah. Somebody asked me about what's the best way to start their small size locks, because they want knotted locks. Because they want knotted locks, they're like, what's the best way to start it? And I just say, start it. Whether you want to braid it, whatever you want to do, whether you want to do a tiny bit of extensions in it, whether you want to do sister locks, it doesn't matter at all. Just start it. Start it with the knowledge that I've given you about your hair. So you wet it and you look after it properly. So you're already practicing like love on your head, so that by the time you transition to knotting it, your hair just knows love and kind hands and gorgeousness. That's what I would say. Just do whatever you feel comfortable. You don't have to find a specific type of specialist in Sisterlocks or whatever. Just do what you want. There's so many options now out there, and that's what I am. I'm just an option. So I love that. The fact that now we have small size locks and there's options for us, rather than I only have to do it this one way. That's all I'm trying to do, is say to you guys, you don't have to lose your hair, and there's other ways of actually achieving your small size locks, other than the way that didn't work for Melissa. The Sisterlocks way did not work for Melissa. I would have gone bald, right? So yeah, just start any way you want it. It rolls on to the next question, which is, can knotted locks be interlocked? And that's why I say to you, start your hair anyhow, any way you want to start it, because my work, I interlock still with my clients. If I don't have enough space to place that knot, I interlock. So yes, also knots is locks, locks is knots. So when I knot, I'm not trying to knot it. Like, I'm just trying to create it in a seamless way. Sometimes it doesn't always happen that way because it's nature, isn't it? You can't control the curl and the coil of your hair. But I am trying for it to be as seamless as possible. But then, Mother Nature, when you wet the hair then just moves, or it, like, you can't see it with the naked eye, so it might coil and move. But I did post recently one of my clients who traveled, who needed their hair done and went to Interlocking, and she'd been knotted locks for 6 years. So she's about to come back and sit in the chair because there's a slight inconsistency, obviously, with her interlocking it, and it doesn't feel as thick as when Melissa plates her loop in and a knot in. And by the way, I think that when I work with clients, I believe my hand is different for other people. So how you would knot your hair wouldn't necessarily be how I would knot. Like, there might be differences, but I might be wrong, right? But I know a lot of the work I do, it's also about my hand, right? But anyway, she was successfully able to interlock it. So yes, you can interlock. And then somebody asked me, when I start my new set of locks, how soon can I get knotted locks? Again, I'll say I'm a relationship girl, so I would say generally I would say 6 months. But if you've started your locks and you want to transition to knotted locks, just WhatsApp me. My WhatsApp details are at the end of every post. Just WhatsApp me. I'll look and then I'll say to you, wait, you open it, you show me, and I'll be like, yeah, you probably need another couple of months. If I tell you something, don't take it rigid. Like, you are the expert in your hair. So if I tell you, maybe you need to wait a couple of months, and then let's say like it locks is in a month, then send me another video. Like, I'm so flexible about it because I could be wrong. And then we can back and forth. You can send me another video. It's fine. And then I can then say to you, yeah, I feel like you could be ready. So generally, I always say like from 6 months, maybe 9 months, and then you'd be ready to get your hair in knotted locks. I hope this helps. I've answered all the questions. There's only one live question. I might be completely oblivious to the fact that I'm getting questions asked. And I apologize if you've asked a question and I've actually not answered, but I feel like I've answered everyone's questions. And if you really, 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 really want me to answer a question, send me the question on WhatsApp. Send me the question right under this live feed, live share. Ask me in my private Facebook group. I am easily accessible because this is what I do on a day-to-day basis. So I hope today my live share has helped someone in their researching and understanding their small size locks experience better. And I will try my best next week to help answer your questions. Those who are thinking about the journey of starting small size locks, and those who are experiencing wearing small size locks, Sisterlocks, Microlocs. And if you're really, 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 really worried about your hair and it's urgent, just WhatsApp me and send me a video of your hair. Thank you, Jenny. I try my best. So next week I'll be back with hopefully some more questions. And if you guys don't have questions, I will just come live, because I just think if I do this regularly, then eventually you guys will get it, that I'm actually here to answer your personal questions about your personal experience. In other words, for all of this, it's so that we worry less and we don't feel isolated with our sister locks or braid locks or small size locks experience. And I also recognize that not everybody is a social media person, and not everyone feels comfortable enough to communicate with me in this way. You believe it or not, I am not comfortable, but my calling is our African texture hair and wearing it in this small size locks. I tried being a natural hairstylist, but that wasn't my calling. I tried being a Sisterlocks consultant. That wasn't my calling. I even tried bespoke for a while. That wasn't my calling. Knotted locks and beyond the knots is my calling. And so next week I'll come back and I'll share my knowledge. And thank you for being here. Take care of yourselves. Until next Sunday. Bye.